So, you're interested in live looping, you're interested in a one-man band, you're interested in a crazy one-man production setup like this. Let me explain a little bit what we got going on here. If you don't know, my name is BREN. I perform as a one-man band. I've been doing this live music thing for a living for a little while now, and just in the last year I've started to break out into the online live streaming space and doing this whole thing. I go online, I take people's requests, I play all kinds of songs, different challenges and stuff. And this is the setup. This is the tool that I use to do this. So this is completely homemade, by the way. I don't know anybody else who has this specific setup with this configuration. And trust me, if anybody would know, I would know, because I'm always online looking up other people's setups, other people's live rigs and live looping and all that stuff. And I'm very interested in the space. And so all of the personal experience I have playing hundreds of shows and just doing the thing myself, but then also the research I've done, seeing other people's rigs, this is what I came up with. This is the best that I could come up with today. This is the end of 2025. I want to do an extra new rig rundown because the last one we did was about 8 months ago, and I said in that video 8 months ago, I said we'll do another one in like 6 months because everything's going to change, and I'll tell you, even after this one we'll do another one in another 6 months or so because everything will change, which is the fun and excitement of it. We're never quite satisfied, we're never quite finished learning and incorporating new instruments. So if you'll see, the quick overview is piano, obviously, drums. I got a drum pad, I've got some harmonicas here, I've got some bongos, I've got guitar, I've got bass, and I've got literally like 30 different effects pedals that I could press at any time. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to get deep into all this stuff. So first off, let's look at the heart of the rig. You're gonna have to come over here to see my looper pedals. I call this the heart of the rig because this is the recording studio. Without this, you know, I'm really just one man making music, but this is what makes me into a band. So as an example, I've got 4 tracks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got a record button, and we've got a stop button, and we've got mode to introduce the muting, so you can mute different instruments, and a function to do all kinds of other, you know, we're not even gonna go into that, that's a lot. So the way I like to do this, let's pick our track 1, okay? Now let's play a bit of a drum beat here. I've got the Roland TD-17 module down here. Click record on this. It sends a MIDI signal from my TD-17 to my looper pedal, and it tells it to record. So if I click this and I play at the same time, press record, and now you can tell it just plays. And so down here you can see the actual waveform of what I just recorded. Get a visual of this as I'm recording it. Nice, so we've got our drum beat. Now we can introduce a little bit bass guitar. Oh, 1 second. Now we got our bass line. Come up here, we can add a bit of piano. Nice, now click over here and we could add some percussion. Press stop and you can stop the whole track, or if you notice, I went over to this mode button and I clicked mode. Now instead of selecting a track, right? Instead of selecting a track, now I'm in mute mode, so I could actually mute different tracks, just like if you're in the studio. So you're in the studio, yeah, we want to take out the drums, no more drums. Take out the drums, mute the drums. Oh, the bass is too much right now, mute the bass. Take out the keyboard. Bring the bass back. Pretty cool, right? Bring in the drums. Press 2 at the same time, even if you like, you know? Delete. And there you go. That's essentially the quick rundown of how I would make a track. I like to do drums on track 1. I do my bass on track 2. I do guitar and keys generally on track 3, and then track 4 is like percussion and extra stuff like that. And yeah, dude, that's all you really need, 4 tracks. If you get really creative, if you get really crafty, I like to say 1 track at a time, you can just do different tunes on, or different instruments on different tracks. And yeah, that's a quick rundown of the loop pedal. Obviously we go a lot more in depth in that, but I've chosen this Sheeran Looper X pedal specifically for what you just saw. Like, I click a button. The buttons are huge, by the way. If you come down here, you could compare the giant button to the little button. that shows up on most loop pedals have these little freaking teeny little buttons that don't do much for you, especially when, you know, there's however many people on the dance floor, the lights are in your eyes, you're sweating, you're in the middle of a performance. You know, it's so easy to just click the wrong pedal or just have your foot slightly in the wrong direction. But with this, larger pedals, large screen, large waveforms, you could easily see what you're doing. And I come from a punk rock background, okay? Which means, you know, in a live performance, you're not necessarily totally worried about, I guess you could say, playing, you're not totally worried about perfection. You know, it's an energy that you bring. You want to, punk rock, for me, it was like about fun energy. It's about, I don't care, I'm doing this, I'm going to try this, I'm going to do this, do that. And sometimes with that energy and you're going hard, it's easy to press the wrong button at the wrong time or to mess something up. This makes it a lot harder to mess up. So I love this Sheeran Looper X pedal. It's been a big game changer for me and what I'm doing. So let's move on to the next thing, the Headrush Prime. Now this is where all my guitar effects come from. Come on down here, I'll show you a little bit about that. So I'll talk about the difference of the pedals. Just look how chunky this pedal is compared to this little pedal. This is what most loopers have, a pedal like this, you know, just a little button. And if you can tell, I've got giant feet, a giant foot trying to press this, press that, it's huge. So, all right, let's talk about my effects here. So if you can tell, they're made by same company. So giant touchscreen, you could easily drag and drop, you could easily click things, you go and click, double click, and adjust all the parameters, which is really nice. And you could even, if you click here, you could customize the pedals, which pedal does what when. So you could tell on this pedal right here, I don't even have anything assigned here. I think I had something acoustic or set, and I think I just recently removed it because I wasn't using it. So we've got clean. If we go back here, clean, which is essentially, you know, clean guitar. Nothing too crazy. Now click it again, you get clean with some delay and reverb. Right? Fun. Dirt, get a little dirty. Like I said, I love some rock and roll, some punk rock. Now, red means we got a little bit of leads on there, so it gives you some delay and some reverb. Now, if I want to add extra reverb, I can actually, these buttons here are for just some extra flavor. So let's say we got lead or clean with a bit of a clean lead, and if I hold this, adds just a bunch of extra reverb and space. So this one right here is actually titled Space because it actually adds so much. It's like that, but on steroids, right? Well, I kind of messed that up. Let me fix that. Let me fix that. So, reverb. Right, it's got a little bit of reverb, and then this one, if you hold this one, it's got a ton. And so I let go and it just plays forever. And I love I call it space because I use it to fill in space. I use it for like at the end of a song, you know, hit the big rock ending. Something like that, right? Pretty fun, pretty cool. Now some wah-wah, you know. Pretty self-explanatory. And then this one right here is another hold. So if you hold this one, this adds like a delay. Just a delay that keeps going, right? If I just play it, that I hold it, you could hear all that extra delay, and then a tremolo. This one you just toggle it on, you know, just for some fun toys and stuff. And then, you know, you got a tuner if you need a tuner, and then you've also got tap tempo if you want to tap your tempo. And then this here, sometimes I'll use this as like an extra volume. The expression pedal, I use it for extra volume, and I also use it for a little bit of extra delays and leads and stuff. So when you turn it on, so normal, then I toggle it, and you can hear it's just got some extra space and reverb delay and stuff like that. So, and then there's rigs, you know, these buttons down here, you could basically essentially save entire new setups with totally different rigs. So for example, if I click here, this is my banjo rig. So when I'm using the banjo, you know, it's got banjo, bass, similar things for when I'm using banjo. And I click this button, and it's just like that. So that's basically a quick overview of the Headrush Prime, but it's one of the first things I'm actually going to be replacing. If you guys don't know, I've already ordered the Line 6 Helix Stadium XL, I think. It's the newest, like, newest technology and newest version of a multi-effects pedal like this. And it's like a mixer and everything all in one. It's gonna have a ton more capabilities than this, but we'll get into that later into the next rig rundown. But for now, this thing's lasted me about a year. This thing's been amazing. I love it. But it is time for an upgrade. So that's one of the newest things I'm gonna be changing. Now, come back down here. I'll show you how I get my bass sound. This is called the Octave OC5 by Boss. So when I toggle this pedal, if you notice, and I play an E, now if I play it with this, it's got bass under it. So it basically creates a sub octave where there isn't one. So now even, one great thing about this is even if I play like a full chord, like an E chord, and then I put this on, and then play an A, it basically like summarizes all of your guitar notes into a bass sound. So it's like I could actually play entire full chords. And instead of it turning every string into its individual bass string, it summarizes the entire guitar into one sound. And so we get just a bass sound. So I use that for all my bass stuff. Sometimes I don't even record a bass. Sometimes I just leave that on and I'll play the whole song. Right? Right, without it, it just still sounds good. But you want that bass in there. Especially when you're going for the whole one-man band sound. You want to sound full. The Boss OC5 has been amazing for my setup. So that's kind of how I get the bass sounds right now, but in the new rig, I might change it. Like I said, everything is essentially subject to change here. So now let me also show you how I would run full-on mix effects. This is a new thing, but if you come down here, we'll talk about the mixer and we'll talk about the full mix effects. So this is the CQ12T by Allen and Heath. Now, if you can tell, there's a lot of cables, there's a lot going on here. Essentially, this is my entire mix, man. This is all of my instruments, all set up in stereo. So if you can see, there's 2 inputs for vocals, 2 inputs for guitars / keys, because I actually run my keyboard straight into the Headrush Prime through the auxiliary input. It completely bypasses all the effects on here, but I just use that to save some inputs. So it's guitar and keys. Then here I've got some extra inputs, and anytime I've got friends coming to jam or somebody at an event needs an extra microphone. And then here I've got my stereo drums, and I've got the Boss OC5. So the reason I've got this thing is essentially I could totally route things in different ways. So the way I have it routed right now, for example, is I have the guitar. So if I click fader and then I click sends to. So if I send to the 1-2, you can see the 1-2, the only instruments that are going through the first 2 inputs. So for example, that Sheeran has 4 inputs. 4 inputs means I could only, and if I'm running in stereo, 4 inputs really only means I got 2 inputs. That's it. So stereo 1, stereo 2, that's all I got. So stereo 1, I'm sending the guitar, the keys, and the bass, which means that the way I have it set up, where track 2 and track 3 only record guitar and bass. That's it. That's it. So no drums, no percussion will ever show up on track 1 or 2. Why do I have it set up like that? I essentially have it set up like that so that if I'm playing, let's say I have a droning guitar, right? I just let my space go. Let's say I have a droning guitar. Now, if I go to track 1 and I press record, you'll notice there's no guitar coming through track 1. In fact, if I press track 2, you'll see, oh, there's the guitar. It's coming in track 2. I go back to track 1 and there's nothing on track 1. If I go track 4, there's nothing here either. So the way I have that set up like that, and the reason I have it set up like that is so that I can leave a droning guitar. Just let it play. Let that drone fill some space. And then I come up here. While this guitar's droning, I just recorded the drum track and there's no guitar on the drum track, right? But you can still hear the sound. I come over here. So now there's nothing, right? But now I click on track 2. Now it's there. So as a looper, the theory of this is basically I'm creating transitions. So let's say I end a song on a big E, right? The crowd's cheering. Instead of waiting 5 minutes for the guitar to stop playing and then go into the next song, I directly go into the next song. boom. Creates a very clean transition, which is really important when you're playing a show and you're trying to, you know, song after song after song after song, and you're live looping everything. Nothing's pre-recorded, nothing's pre-prepared. You have to be able to have the tools to create clean transitions. And that's one of the best ways I've been able to create clean transitions. And the same goes for the piano too, right? Same goes for the keys. So you got a nice droning keys. Now you come in here. And there you go. The keyboard keeps going and it doesn't bleed into the other tracks. So that is thankfully thanks to our CQ12T mixer. So you can see the sends and the 1-2, which is our track 2 and 3, only take those two instruments. And then the track 4 only takes the drums. So that's how I have that set up and routed for all of you routing nerds out there. So this mixer basically handles all of the routing in the whole situation. So very important that we have this. But let's come back down to this thing right here. This is a new addition. This is the Line 6 HX Stomp, the hairy Line 6 HX Stomp. I have a dog, German Shepherd. She sheds on everything, dude. Anyway, with this thing, it's amazing what you could do. So I'll have to record a track to show you how it's done. So just let me record a quick track. So that's the most, you know, demo track here. We're just demo loop. So if you come back and look here, you'll see when I press play, if I hold this, now if I hold this right now while the track is playing, it's essentially, I send all the instruments to this, then I send all of the instruments back to the looper in channel 1 and 2, channel 1, 2, 3, 4. So one channel, 1, 2 is our guitar and keys, 3, 4 is our drums. Now, this sends the entire mix, the whole mix goes straight to here. So the reason is if I hold this, and it's a momentary, so it only works when I hold it. If I hold it, it will essentially create a reverb. So give you an example. Now hold this. Now if I press stop, do you see how instead of the track just ending abruptly, it creates a tail. It creates a reverb tail. So example, let me just play. There you go. It just stopped, right? You imagine you're listening to a song and the song just abruptly stops. You're on the dance floor and the song just abruptly stops. You're dancing. Oh, where'd the song? You know what? There's something missing. So that's why that's here. Hold this. Now press stop. And it leaves like it just leaves a bit of life, a bit of feeling. So that's very important. Here's another version of it. Right next to it, I've got, essentially this is like a reverse, it says non-linear, but it's basically like a reverse. So watch. Hold it, press stop. That's kind of fun, right? That's kind of fun, kind of trippy. I don't use it a ton, but sometimes it's just fun to kind of have a different flavor. Finally, the last thing I got here is a phaser / band pass. I'm always messing with the settings on this one, but I'll show you. Press play, then you click this, right? Kind of just has a fun effect. Click it again, music comes back, click it again, kind of has that cool, yeah, just some different flavors, different fun things to kind of like introduce something different to the mix, right? So that's pretty much the Line 6 HX Stomp. Processing all of my effects, mix effects. So let's go to this next thing here. This is a new addition. This is the Boss VE500. So in my old setup, I actually ran my vocals into the Headrush Prime, which is crazy, right? You thought the Headrush Prime was already doing enough. Imagine it was also running my vocals. So I figured let's give the Prime a break and let's get an entire unit just dedicated to my vocals. So that's this thing, the Boss VE500. You can see it says harmony here. So you hold this while you're singing and playing guitar. So I've got my guitar routed into this too, because it recognizes what key you're playing in on guitar. So if I'm playing a G chord and I hold this, let's give you an example. Why talk about it? Let's give it a real example. Play a G chord, you hear me sing G with the harmony, G, right? G, G, right? It's kind of fun, right? It just adds a little bit of an extra something, a little bit of an extra. So an example of a song, let me take like a song that I wrote. This is a song called Moments. Don't you wait. Trigger the harmony. Don't you wait. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Just add some extra elements. So that's coming from the Boss B E500. The other two pedals I have here, this is also, one of them is just some extra reverb, right? Some extra space, you can hear that. Another one is like a delay. So this is delay, delay, delay. This is delay, delay, delay. Undelay, and delay, 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 delay. That's kind of fun too. So that processes all my vocal effects. And I'm still messing with this. This is new. It's probably 2 months old. Still trying to figure out how I'm gonna run it and how the different effects go. If you could tell on my vocal, I already have a bit of slapback and a bit of reverb on there, just general, just to kind of make it feel a little bit more. I like the slapback. It reminds me of like old school kind of like Beatles, Elvis, you know, that kind of stuff I'm really into. So, and while we're talking, let's talk about this microphone. This is the Heil Fin by, it's called The Fin by Heil Sound. I've talked about this already. I just like the old school look of it. It's got modern technology. It's got like a retro futuristic thing to it I really enjoy. Yeah, and it's not like some of the other microphones, the old style microphones are so big. They're like this big and it like covers your entire face and it's just like, it feels like you're hiding behind a freaking, this thing's nice and small. It's good compact and it sounds great. I love this thing. So, and let's talk about the microphone stand. This is basically just literally a microphone stand that I took the legs off of. And if you see, it runs all the way down here into a flagpole. We've talked about this before. This is just a pole you put on your house or a stand. And it's meant for flagpoles, but I use it for a microphone stand, and that's drilled directly into my, if you can't tell, this is a mixer case. So it's made for like those giant mixers. This is the top of the case. So when I'm out touring and I gotta get, you know, in and out really quick, this thing literally just drops down, it's on wheels, drops down on top of my pedal board, and then it clicks in with these things right here. And yeah, so it's like an all-in-one case where, yeah, it makes it super simple to just pop it on there, click it in, then you click it off and your board just sits on the ground. You don't have to like pick up your board and take your board out of the box. It's just like, it's ready to go. So this case is great, would highly recommend, although it's huge and it's like 100 pounds. It weighs it's so much, but worth it, worth it. Oh my gosh, guys, there's so many pieces of this rig we haven't even talked about. We're only, so this could be a 2-3 hour video, guys, and I've probably spent hundreds of hours putting all this together. So bear with me as we're still going through some stuff. Let's talk about what's underneath the board. We talked about the board a little bit, but underneath there's a power conditioner. It's probably just as big as the pedal board itself. And it has like 24 or something crazy. It's got a lot of inputs for power. So I've got all of that running into this cable. All of that runs into this cable right here. If you could tell, this is a loom with like 5 different cables. I don't know how many cables, but so this runs power for this right here for my monitor. When I'm live, I plug this into the monitor. This is like power that I use to plug in my speakers. And then this is like literally, this one plug is everything. It's my drums, it's my pedal board, it's my mixer, it's my lights, it's my keyboard, everything runs into this one plug. And I've got all these other plugs, looms, inputs, outputs, XLR for the mains, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. Nothing fancy, but just kind of cool to have it all easily turn that, put it away. You know, it's not like you got to plug every cable in every time. It's all pre-set up like that. So that's really nice to have. And if you can't tell, dude, I've got these looms everywhere. The electric drums all need to be plugged in one at a time. I've got a loom here for the keyboard. I've got a loom over here for this side. And I've got a loom here for the guitar. This loom's important because this loom goes to my guitar and it also gives me a direct aux input for my headphones. So I plug that right into my headphones here. I got the Sennheiser buds, well, I don't know, whatever the heck these are. Plug into there and I got a direct mix in my headphones. That way in a live environment or even in studio, I could hear myself perfectly directly in my ears. And it all runs just one loom. So if you get, I love these looms, dude. This is probably like, I don't know, a couple bucks or something and you just buy like a whole roll of it and everything is tied together with a loom. So life hack for you. Okay, I think we can talk about the piano now. This is the CK88, I believe, by Yamaha. The last keyboard that I had, you could probably pull it out actually right there, it's at my desk. That's my CK61. I love this so much, I went and bought its big brother, the CK88. 88 keys. It's got so many keys, I don't even use them all. I rarely get down here to press any of these, but yeah, dude, it's got it all. big keyboard, lots of sounds. It's also a synthesizer, so it says, you know, it's got all these, it's also a bass. So that's really cool. It's really just opens you up to any sound you could think of, a trumpet, a freaking strings, right? Like anything. Let's go some strings. I also really love the steel guitar. This is one of my new favorite sounds, my new favorite. I use this as much as I can. That's awesome. Strings, yep. Electric pianos. What else do I got? Organs. And just the list goes on, dude. This, any sound you could think of, this thing's pretty much got it. And it's great because I could run it all from here. Even, yeah, it's great. So let's talk about the drum pad. So this is just electronic fun drum sounds. I don't use it very often, but it's also got some fun kind of effects I like to use for transition. So say you're transitioning to a chorus, you know, and you hit that real quick. Boom, hit the chorus, it's awesome. Some more effects, some different kind of transition effects I like to call them, as well as some electric drums, some chimes, you know. Just fun extra effects, you know, I'm always adding new toys. That's a new addition. I've still not cracked exactly the best way to use it, but it's very exciting. It's an exciting ad. Here, if you can tell here, this is where I run my main camera and my setup. We'll do another rig rundown for just the studio. We'll do a studio rundown. But this, you can see me. You can see my brother Camo. What's up, Camo? And yeah, dude, zoom in, take the thing, zoom around, right? It's very great. And you can see, yeah, it's all set up right there, right? And then we can zoom out and it's all controlled directly at my fingertips on my keyboard, which is really nice because I got a lot going on, dude. I got to keep it simple. I got to keep it easy. And this thing is great for just controlling the camera in that way. So right here is how I adjust the lights. So, and this essentially changes all of the curtain lights behind me. This, I know it just looks like a fun white backdrop, but if you're new here, you haven't seen this yet. It's amazing how it also has all these different lighting effects, right? So it just adds a whole new element. I like to change it between every song. So say, I don't know if you're like this at all, but like sometimes you feel like a certain song or certain key of music has like a color associated to it, right? So like, you know, oh, this song's a little bit more, you know, fun and upbeat. Now the lights are flashing all crazy, right? Or we could go with something more sunset. This is kind of more of like a chill, you know, nice kind of, okay, that's pretty cool. And literally like this goes on, I could do this for days. Like I've got so many different backdrops to play with. And like I said, I like to change it between every song. I play thousands, literally 1,000+ songs in my set list. So each song I like to give it a bit of a new flavor, something different, something interesting, a new light to kind of enjoy. And as you can see, it slowly changes the backdrop. And I've got backdrops for days, essentially. So that's really fun. Let's put on a more chill backdrop for the rest of this video here, since we'll go something like this. Yes, very fun, very cool. So, oh my gosh, this rig just continues. What else am I missing here? Oh, have we yet talked about the drums? I know you've been waiting to talk about the drums. The drums are one of the most cool, interesting things about this setup. So, have you ever seen anybody set up their drums kind of like as a part of the keyboard? And when I say as a part of the keyboard, I literally mean like the drums are attached to the keyboard stand itself. If you could tell there, I've just got a bracket attached to the stand, which attaches to this, which goes up to here, and there you go, it's my hi-hat stand. And I've got the same thing over here. If you could tell, Cam, this one's really complicated. If you look over here, this is like attached to here, with this attached to there, with that attached. So we've got clamps that clamp onto the pole, which clamp onto the drums themselves. And yeah, literally, a great thing I love about this is that, and this has happened to me before, okay? Picture this. You're at a wedding. You're hired to perform at somebody's wedding, their big day, okay? And last minute, they're like, yeah, it's gonna start raining. You need to move all of your equipment to this other spot right now, and also you need to start the show within a half hour. Sounds freaking crazy, right? But with a setup like this, I could literally, two people, we could pick up the keyboard and the drums and all the stands all in one. We could pick it up and move it And I've literally had to do this before where I've had to like pick up and move everything. And that's why I like having it all at once. Instead of just having like, I could have like a drum stand here, right? I could have like 3 drum stands here, but instead I choose to have it all together on one thing so that even if I'm on the stage and I need to move to the left a little bit, like for example, let's just say, dude, you gotta move to the left. I could just grab the stand and move the whole, like I can move it all in with one hand. Isn't that crazy? Like it's pretty nuts to have it all set up like that. And so everything is set up all together and that's all of it. Again, I've never really seen anybody do this. And let's talk about my kick pedal. I used to have a whole electric kick drum, but this is just a kick pedal. And you can tell it actually has this. So when I kick it, this piece right here hits the kick pedal, which is, if you notice with a lot of electric kick drums, there's nothing, like it doesn't feel like a kick drum, right? It feels like you're just hitting nothing. This thing feels like a kick drum. You get that haptic feedback of like, when I hit the kick, I don't just hear it, I actually feel it because this piece right here comes smack in my foot basically. And so it gives you that feedback of like, yeah, that's what a kick sounds like and what a kick feels like. So this is huge and this is how I play. I play standing up. I got my kick drum. I usually just keep my heel right off the drum and I do, well, I mean, we already have that loop from earlier, but. Right? Pretty cool, pretty cool. Oh, what else can I say about this setup, guys? It's been a lot. There's a lot that goes into this stuff, man. Like I said, I've literally sat around just staring at my board for days at a time, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, just like, even just for the smallest upgrade. Here's another little upgrade. You guys notice I got a keyboard right here, control my entire computer. There's a quick look at my setup here. I got my OBS, I've got my Twitch comments right here. On the big screen, I'll usually pull up my YouTube comments. And then over here, I've got a song. Let's pick a song. Mustang Sally, someone requested this recently. I played it for the first time. And there you go, I pull up the lyrics and the chords and I control everything right here. It's all controlled right here. I could type, I could switch cameras with different buttons. If you see, I've got the camera switcher. So that's really fun too. And yeah, everything at my fingertips, everything. Like it's absolutely incredible. Like I impress myself with how much it, like guys, and I'm usually a humble guy, I will say, but dude, it took me so long to set this up. It took so much, not just time, but energy and thought and research. You know, I've had to get some inspiration from other people. I had to learn from others too, in order to be able to get creative and crafty enough to make up my own setup like this. And as I said, I've not seen anybody else with this exact setup. It's completely unique, but I'm putting this out there so you can steal it. Okay, if you want to make a setup like this, I just showed you how it's done. I just showed you how I do it. And come back in about 6 months to a year. It'll be completely different because I will continue to change. It will continue to evolve and the setup will evolve as well. So, hey, it's been a long, I feel like I've been talking a lot and I could talk more. I could go even more in depth on this stuff, but let's just leave it at that for today. Okay, if you guys have any additional questions, literally throw it in the comments. I reply to every comment. If you have any question about technical stuff or even looping philosophy, like how I think about making these songs, how I think about how I'm gonna build tracks and stuff, like let me know. Any questions, throw them in the comments. Let me know what your rig looks like. Show me what you got. Talk to me about what your setup is like. Is it as elaborate as this, or you got something a little bit more simple, even something crazier? I've seen people with crazier setups. Believe it or not, this isn't the craziest setup in the world, but it's pretty wild. It is pretty wild. So yeah, leave your comments and questions and concerns or whatever in the comment section below. And pretty soon we'll do a new setup, or we'll do another video. We'll do one about just the studio, and we'll talk about the setup that I got for the whole studio. We'll do a studio tour, show you all my guitars and instruments and stuff. But as for the rig rundown, that's what it is, man. This is the exact rig that I take to every show, every weekend. This is it, this whole thing. I pack it all up and I bring it out there somehow. So that's it, that's all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, man. Subscribe, be a part of this journey that we're on, man. We're making music every day. The channel's grown a lot since the beginning of the year. We're meeting new people all the time, people who love music, people who love looping and one-man bands and all that kind of live performance stuff. So yeah, check it, come hang out on a stream sometime. Let us know what tune you want to hear. Let me know if you got any questions about the setup, and yeah, that's it, well, I can keep going. I could talk about these giant drumsticks. I could talk about my crappy foam, you know, so I could play and then drop it, right? I could talk about all that. There's so many little things. I could talk about my thumb pick, right? The thumb pick, so that I don't have to put a pick down and play. I could actually just keep playing, and right, I could talk about that. What else can I talk about? I could talk about, do you know what I mean? Like there's so many little intricate things that go into this. I could talk about the harmonicas. You want to talk about, right? There's so many things we could talk about, but leave your questions in the comments section. Let me know what you're curious about, and thank you guys for watching. If you watched to the end, you're a real one, dude. Appreciate you. Take care.